Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 16 breakdown for the Carta Magica online treasure cup that happened this past weekend. It was just under 500 players, and we have this top 16 that we see here today. And a couple of things before we get started. First, if you guys enjoy these videos, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It does help me out a lot. And then also, shoutouts to Carta Magica for not only giving me the list for this, but also for letting myself and Brian from Stage Zero for doing the commentary for it. It was a really fun time, and I love doing the commentary for these events, not only for the coverage, but it does mean that I do get a good amount of just extra details about events like this, which is really cool. So again, if you guys want to see that, it is on the Twitch channel for Carta Magica right now, which is linked on this page, and just kind of everything else. So again, 9 rounds of Swiss into this top 16 of 5 purple Luffy, which one of them ended up winning the event, 5 Sakazukis, 2 Enels, 1 Newgate, 1 Zoro, 1 Charlotte Katakuri, and 1 copy of Uta. So honestly, a lot of purple Luffy compared to what we've been seeing for the last couple weeks, especially since it was 3 of the top 4, which is actually pretty insane, including winning the event. We also have a general amount of Sakazukis. Yellow's not doing as well this week, with red creeping up a little bit, and the new addition of Uta, which was the second most popular leader brought to this event too. And then again, like the conversion for Luffy was pretty good. Sakazuki was a little bit under the curve there, and then also, like, as much as people brought Uta, only one got into that top 16, which is a little bit low. So, but pretty like more diverse than we've seen for the last couple weeks. We're almost done with the OP05 meta. We have one more week of it, and then we do have OP06 coming in this next month too. So that's kind of just the overview of this as well. We're gonna go over the top placing list of each one of these leaders, starting off with our first place list, which is Jake's list of purple Luffy. And real quick, if you guys don't know, I have a new deck builder for the One Piece card game. It's up to date for EBO1, and you guys can check it out on my website and link below. But that's going to be what we do for our event coverage moving forward. So, but again, we do have Jake's version of purple Luffy here. We also do have our second place. So we have Chris Sock, who ended up getting first place during the Play TCG version of their treasure cup at the beginning of the month, and then getting second place for this one. So a really, really good run for Chris as well. So I did want to kind of mention that. I believe their list was almost identical, if not near identical, to the one that they brought at the beginning of the month. But being able to, like, I don't know, purple Luffy's kind of in a weird spot of it can be the best deck in the room if you are able to see the pieces that you need. My issue with the deck personally is that you don't really have any consistency point pieces besides just drawing a lot of cards and hoping you find the ones that you need. So other than that, I do think there's good strength in it. We're seeing more of Miss All Sunday, I believe, get into the deck just as like an alternative way to get some ramp. I think like Polly is still very good for what he is. The issue with him is that he doesn't necessarily, like sometimes he's just expensive for the ramp, right? He is a 5-drop 6K, which is nice, but if your opponent doesn't have a body to get rid of, you'd more than likely want the card draw as well as the ramp, so being able to use that, I think, is good. And then again, for Jake's build here, 4 polys, 4 kids, 4 queens, 3 of the Kaidos, Gum Gum, Jet Gatling, and Blast Breath. So nothing too spectacular, but big congrats there. And then just for Chris's, nothing too crazy. They are still running the Sachi and Penguin. My understanding is that they're doing this simply because it's an OK 4-drop 5K that also just happens to be a 2K counter. You'll never be able to use the effect from it due to your leader, but just being able to, again, like if you don't find your 4-drop 6Ks, you can at least drop a 4-drop 5K if you're going first after you use your leader effect. So because the other 2Ks are, for example, Khalifa is good, but it does it doesn't have 5K, so it has to be added. Dawn has to be added for it to get the reduction there, which is a little bit rough for you, and then just the rest of it here. So generally pretty much the same between the two. The only other add is the Urashima, and no copies of the Gum Gum Jet Gatling, which is definitely a staple in my mind, but it was not for Chris here, and it definitely paid off. So congratulations to both of our purple Luffy players. All right, going into 4th place, we've got Jonathan Chao with their version of Newgate. Jonathan also ended up getting a top 32 finish at the Cardfest finals at the end of last month too, using Newgate in a very similar build for this. And this is definitely a very wild build. I remember when he was playing it, he was on stream quite a bit, and I saw like, oh, there are cards in this deck deck that I would not expect for this deck. Primarily Buggy is one that's not on my mind, but being able to play this, and then it's an easy 5k, and there's a good amount of events that we're running. We are running 15 with 4 guard points, 4 rad beams, 4 of the Bad Man or Kick Course, and 3 of the Gum Gum Jet Pistol 2, which is something that you're able to find with the Nami, which is really nice. So being able to have like double searches with both Nami and Buggy, very strong there. And then everything else is just kind of like the Straw Hat version of it. We have a good amount of cards with Rush, with 2 Zoros, 4 of the Monkey D. Luffy, and 4 of the Ace. No copies of Newgate, which makes sense for just the aggressive version of this build, and it really fits the play style that we have for this one. So don't have much more than that, but just congratulations to Jonathan keeping Newgate alive, and we'll have to see if he's able to keep it alive going into OP06. Next up, we have for Sakazuki, we have Richard with their build of it here. I don't have a lot to say about this build, to be honest. I think that it's pretty understood that what Sakazuki looks like at the high end for this current meta. Hina is kind of like a bit of a decision point, but I think most people are playing it right now. 10-drop Kaido is not as popular as it was at the beginning of the format, at least as it was here in North America. Most people kind of just getting rid of the card in general. And the only other card is like the Sabo. I really do like this card, and running it at 1 seems a little bit low. There's a lot of decks that just don't really have a good way to interact with this card and being able to kind of fix your hand at times. So this is the only card I would say is like 1 is a little bit suspicious, but I think other than that, it's just a really solid deck. So definitely more of a player-centered deck than a deck builder's challenge at this moment, but really good run, and congratulations to Richard for their finish there. Next up, we have Anthony with Zoro, and Anthony is definitely not a stranger to Zoro and topping events either, but this is kind of what we've been seeing for the deck post-restriction, or post-OP05, just having a good amount of aggression and more kind of just focusing on the 1-drops. We do have like a couple copies of the Magra. Nico Robin, only 1 copy of it, but really good for trading into Rebecca's. We also do have like the Gordons. They are also playing like the OG Fire Fist, which I don't see this card pop up as often as it did in previous formats. You still are able to get some really good double destruction with it as well. But I do feel like it is a bit slower for what it is. But 13 events, you did have to find some more, so I understand why Fire Fist was part of them, since we are playing for the buggies and then like the rest that we've kind of known for this deck. So nothing too surprising, nothing too spectacular for how this deck works in general. But still very strong. I think Red being able to play a lot of cards with Rush, with again the Zoro and the Luffy, is great. Marco, outside of like getting Hound Blazed, does stick on board pretty often in this meta too, which is strong. And I think it's just still a great deck. So not much more to say, but congratulations to Anthony for their finish there. Next up, we have our 2 Enel list. So they're able to get, I believe, a 7th and 8th place. 8th and 9th place for our 2 Enel decks. Both of them pretty similar. In general, Enel didn't seem to be doing as well as it's been doing in previous weeks, especially considering it was the first place winning deck for our card fest here in North America. But in general, I think yellow just wasn't doing as well for this event. And if purple Luffy was really doing fantastic, was on the rise, I do think Enel is one of the decks that just have a really hard time against it. So I don't have much about either of these. They both got 1st or 8th and 9th right next to each other, so I want to just kind of show off both lists. Both of them ended up being the Sky Island version, which I will still contend is the more popular compared to the Big Mom Pirates version of it. But it's just a very strong deck for what it is. So have the Omen Holy package, being able to have Shuras, being able to help find the top end. Some Shirahoshi is really good. And then this is Absless. So we have 4 Enels, 4 Katakuris, and 4 Yamatos with a 3-3 split of Thunderbolt and 200 million volts. So a little bit on the brickier side, but the Shirahoshi helps us get there. And then for the version from Mark, we have 3 Enel, 3 Katakuris, 4 Yamatos, and then a 1-3-3 split with the El Thor having 1. So slightly less bricky, a little bit more options for it. I do like the tech of 1 El Thor. Just the fact that this card can exist mean that it can save a Yamato from getting KO'd by battle, and then you just kind of win the game from there, which is kind of nice at times. The Brule I think is like a good choice here too. So it just has, we have 3 Brules, 4 Beige, and 4 Sanji, so a lot of great cards to prevent your opponent from winning on the spot, which is really helpful. And just kind of the rest that we see here. Only 2 Gadotsus kind of having to take the hit from so many good cards with Trigger, but it seems like a really consistent build. And congrats to both our Enel players for their finishes there. Next up, we have a Charlotte Katakuri. So our other yellow deck, this is Sean Kozin's version of the build. And I don't have much to say, but I mean, I've been talking about yellow for a long time. We've been seeing pretty similar for this one, and specifically Katakuri too, being able to get 2 or 10 drop, right? That's always been the meme for the deck. 2 8 drop Katakuris, which I think this deck can get away with running less of this card, and sometimes none at all, which I know is sometimes a decision, sometimes monetarily tough because I know this is still a pretty expensive guy. 3 Linlins and then also an Enel, since this can get you some win you some games that you can't expect. Like Enel plus 200 million volts still goes really hard in a lot of matchups. And then just kind of there. So 3 Gadatsu because it can help in some of the grindier matchups, getting rid of some removal, especially like Trafalgar Law or like Zoro. A lot of cards with or decks with like low to the ground bodies like Gadatsu still gets a lot of good value. And then just kind of from there. So not much more to say, but congratulations to Sean for their finish there. Next up, we have Uta. So this is Arnel, our only copy of the deck in the top 16. Again, a lot of people were on Uta, and going through the first couple rounds, it was pretty hard to not get to a table that had Uta. And I don't know what it is. I had a bit of the streamer's curse where whenever we watched an Uta, chances are I wasn't winning, which is a little bizarre from that sense. But obviously the star deck, just being able to have like an actual film leader has helped this leader, or like this archetype, a lot. And just have some kind of identity, which is really nice. I know a lot of people are going more like the Supernova version, so like the Eustace Captain Kidd. This is such a strong card if you're able to get it set up and keep it around, which is fantastic. It being like an 8-drop 8K, there is a lot of removal, so like obviously Sakazuki doesn't have like a really big problem with this, but red's not around as much, so you can have like some like yellow has some answers with 8-drop Katakuri, but that's like a little bit slow for it. So I think this is a good card for what it is. It can lock down opponents who aren't ready to kind of answer it, and that extra turn really just helps you out a lot too. So other than that, it's just the film stuff. We don't have a lot of choices on what we get to build for it. I'm Invincible is such a good card for this leader, though. Being able to get the additional value of like swinging more than once. You always have to ask the question with a green leader, like, is this better than Eustace Captain Kidd and being able to attack twice? And with I'm Invincible, it essentially is the on par, right? You get to, as long as you find this card, which is not difficult with all the cycle and searching you get, you know that you're going to have at least one copy of I'm Invincible by the late game, and you're able to kind of press that advantage, which is really cool too. So not much more to say, but big congrats to Arnel for their finish there. And real quick, I just want to do a big shout out to William, our Nami player. He's been on the Nami grind for most of the last couple months, and he's been doing very well with it. So ended up going X2 with a top 32 finish with this build. It's the build that we know. The only kind of tech card is the Dracula Mihawk, which if you're able to play this on the board and it stays around, you are able to get the draw 2, discard 2, which helps you. But we know what this deck looks like. You just play all these events that help you out. He's really excited for OP06 too. He's told me that there are some good cards to be kind of on the lookout. I think it's Smoke, right? What's the card? I think it's White Smoke. I know there it is. Yeah, or White Snake. Sorry, White Snake. Yeah, this card's going to be really helpful to Nami, being able to give your leaders plus 1K for the turn and to be able to draw a card. That's really fantastic. And then also you can rearrange your deck if you need to. But I think this is going to help the deck too. And there's some other pieces, but regardless from that, I think it's going to be around for a while, and we'll see if he's able to continue his streak with topping with Nami into the next format too. But that's going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you again for watching this video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't, and also on the Stage Zero channel. Really appreciate Brian again for doing the commentary with me. Thanks again for Carta Magica again for the event and everything else, and that's going to be it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it.